morning, and it's kind of ironic today because actually it's only U.S. session traders. Most of the world is closed today for Easter Monday, so we could have a very slow day. Now, one thing I do want to go over, the only trade entries I have are if prices at a congestion dot or prices at an ATR. So for example, if you watched the video I posted on the web this morning, then you would know I'm short the Dow today on the binaries. I actually believe that it will go down below 17,420 if I'm not mistaken on the daily binary. I would have done a weekly on that because I think we may have a down week on the indices, but I couldn't find a price that I was comfortable with on the binary, so I just went out on the daily. Now, over here on the radar screen, there's an abundance of information. Okay, one is volume divergence. In other words, if price is making higher highs, but the volume is decreasing, then it would be listed here. Then I have the ADX, and you can see we have a magenta peak on the NASDAQ 1440, and that's going to create a downtrend on the lower time frames. And you can already see that's exactly what's happening because the ADX is red and the ATR in trend is red, okay? And this is the column that shows you right here. It's the current trend, and then you have ticks to ATR. Well, it's pretty simple. If it's red, like the NASDAQ 45-minute chart, that tells me that the ATR is red, okay? So that's doing exactly what I would anticipate it to do. The next column is the THD RSI. We use that to monitor for overbought and oversold conditions. For example, right now on crude, the monthly chart, the ADX is at 70, okay, that's oversold. And it's dark, so I know we've made a magenta peak. Any questions about that? Look at the color, it's dark, okay, above 70. Anything above 50 would have magenta bars in the ADX, so I know we've had a magenta peak, okay? If you still don't get it, I have a column for you. It tells you magenta peak right next to it. So I already know just at a glance that we've had a magenta peak. Because this is red, I also know that it should retrace back to the ATR, okay? It is red. The ATR is red. That means it will be going up to the ATR. There's no evidence of that happening right now. Now, I told you all of my entries come off of a congestion dot or an ATR. Well, you have price at congestion dot and price at the ATR. So I know at a glance 3 trade setups right now on the futures. One is on the NASDAQ 180-minute chart. Okay, you see that it was at a congestion dot earlier, and now it is at the ATR. So you would expect the volume to be increasing if that ATR is going to be broken. Using the magenta peak off of the 1440, I know we should actually flip this ATR and go lower. The next one is on gold, and again it's a 180. You are at the ATR. Now for this to provide resistance, you would need buyers to be decreasing on the approach back to the ATR. And I'm just going to extend this and look at the volume on the approach to the ATR. That means the only thing that I'm going to be looking at, let me change the color on this so y'all can see it, is the highs is this is going back to that ATR. Well, initially it was increasing, right now it's decreasing. You do have to wait for this bar to end. That bar ends at noon. So I know to come back and check at noon today to see if this ATR is going to hold on gold or not. This has just given me a heads up. Hey, I might have an entry on gold. It's just not there yet. Same thing on crude. You're at the ATR on the 180-minute chart. And you can see it's been notifying you during all of this time period here. What's crude doing? It's currently going down because the ATR provided resistance. And you find this a lot on the 180, on the 720, on the 45. When you get these at an ATR, it is absolutely the lowest point of risk that you can get. So those are the three setups that we have right now on the indices, on gold, and on crude. Now, in addition to that, let's go over and look at the forex market. I'm trading a lot of forex pairs, and you can see we have an overabundance of potential trade setups on the forex side. For example, the Aussie is at a congestion dot right now. There it is. Would you take that trade? No, because right now your volume is increasing. That means it will go through the congestion dot. The reason that the volume is increasing is because this is retracing back to this ATR. It's bouncing off of here. Okay? Go to the next one, the Aussie yen. I mean, you've got so many setups here, it's going to take a while to get through all these. The Aussie yen is at the 45-minute ATR. Now, I have this set to notify me if it's within 20 pips, okay? You look at this, it's within 20 pips of the ATR. That's the reason it is coming up. There's not a trade there. You go to the Canadian yen. It is at the congestion dot on the 180-minute chart. Again, do you see how this volume is increasing? You do not take trade setups at a congestion dot when the volume is increasing. That tells you it will go through the congestion dot. Does everybody understand that? The next one is the Swiss franc yen. It's at a congestion dot on the 1440. Again, here's your congestion dot. Now on this one, I do not have the volume on there, but I know I need to come back and check this at 5 o'clock today. What would I be looking at for this congestion dot to hold? Volume divergence on the 180 with the magenta peak. That would be nice. It would tell me, hey, it's going down now. That would be a great entry on this Swiss franc yen. On the Euro Aussie, we're at an ATR here, but we're at an ATR that is bouncing to the upside here. You would not take that trade. The radar screen makes these trades really simple to screen. On the Euro CAD, you're at an ATR over on the 180-minute chart. Now this is one, it looks like the volume is increasing. Actually, buyers are coming in as that low is being made. Do you see how this hash mark is above zero? It's blue. That's telling me that as they made that low, buyers started coming in, and that is being confirmed right now on the price bar because it's closing in the upper percentile. It should come up and touch the congestion dot over here on the 1440. The best place for entry on that was as it came down to the ATR. It is not now. It's too much risk on that trade now. What about the euro dollar? It's not one of my favorites to trade, but let's look at it. This is one where you were at the ATR here. And I want to line that up. I think it's going to line up with this, but I want to make sure. This is another one where they bought that low, and it was evidence here and on the lower time frame as well. You're late to the game on that one. Really late. Let's go look at the New Zealand dollar is one I'm looking at for later today. And that is because it's at this congestion dot here. And I'm expecting a magenta peak on the 45 minute. So what I was hoping is that it would get closer to this ATR before I actually enter that short. But that's going to be a nice one if it comes in. It's one that I'm actually looking at probably for this afternoon. The US CAD is at a congestion dot on the 180. And again, this is one where they are actually buying low as it stands right now. You can see that the volume bar is showing you that it is above zero. Really getting a better picture of it on the 45 minute. On this one, you could actually let it come down, test this ATR, and then go long. And it should be happening within the next half an hour probably, because you're going to get a magenta peak here. It's going to come back to this ATR. It will test it on the verging selling volume. So that's the one I would want to look at. Was there an entry on the euro dollar? It was earlier, but not now. Now you're late to the game. And some of the best trade setups for the day will actually come in about 6 o'clock in the morning. Let's go look at the USD Swiss franc. I don't like the USD Swiss franc as far as trading these lower time frames. I only like those on the higher time frames. Right now you are at an ATR that is pushing price down on the 720. You may end up coming down to 95.05, which is the congestion dot over here on the weekly. With this being a wide bar, I know that it's going to retrace about 50%. I would be waiting on that one. Let's go back in. Let's look at the Dow. Right now you're retracing the wide bar here. And that's typical price behavior. The volume bar here says we should get a new low. You can see over here, you don't have a lot of buyers coming into this market. This is a magenta peak retracing back to the ATR. These are patterns that appear on all of these time frames consistently. What I would be watching, because this is retracing back to this ATR, is for price to come up to this ATR and have diverging volume. As it stands right now, you are getting diverging volume. But this bar does not end until 10:24. That's another 10 minutes. So you really do have to wait for that to occur for the intraday trades. My voice is a little hoarse this morning for some reason. Same pattern that you're seeing over on the 12 minute. It should retrace back to this ATR. Let's see what the ES is doing. Yes, same pattern. You are seeing diverging volume as it approaches a 3-minute. You know, on a slow day today, focus on the 12-minute. And this has the potential of coming back to 2021. And the mistake that most traders make is trying to just enter a trade at 10 o'clock in the morning. If you would just go ahead and push yourself to get up a little bit earlier, you'll see that trades actually come in earlier. In fact, I don't have it with me at the moment, but I'll post it up on the blog. You actually see in some of the market analysis that I'm doing, you'll actually see that between 4 and 5 o'clock, that's when you're getting a surge both in volume and in tick movement, and the next surge is between 10 and 11 o'clock. But generally it will be in the same direction as the 3 to 4 o'clock surge, which I thought was kind of interesting. I actually had to do it on a line chart to see that. If they flip this ATR, it's going to form a congestion dot more than likely. And that congestion dot is going to pretty much equal this ATR. So this is one of the things you really want to kind of watch for when you're trading. Because I like trading the higher time frames, I have my radar screen set to just pick up the higher time frames when it's at an ATR. The really cool thing is you can actually send it to your smartphone using NinjaTrader, TradeStation, or multi-charts. It all of the platforms will allow you to do it. We had to develop an indicator for NinjaTrader, but it just goes directly to your smartphone. For example, if I get a magenta peak, it goes to my cell phone. If price is at a CD or a congestion dot, it goes to my cell phone. Same thing with the ATR. And we also have developed the strategies for entry at the ATR or entry at a congestion dot. We just haven't released them yet. You should already have it, Humphrey. In NinjaTrader, it's with the package. I think it's email alerts, THD email alerts or something to that effect. It's really beneficial for trading the higher time frames. And just knowing when the bar ends. The ES is a great example. Let's see, insert strategy. Yeah, that's some files. There wasn't more than 50 ticks there, so it wouldn't have taken that trade. Typically, this will be highlighted with the ADX strategy. I can make it do it. So using the strategy, the entry on this one was 2022.25. Exit was 2030.25. And that one actually came in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon Friday. So I use these for the magenta peaks that come in overnight because, again, it just goes to your cell phone. But it shows the methodology really well. Status that one off, put it on the congestion dot. So on this one you can see that your entry was 2036.75 with the congestion dot at 2039.25. I mean, that's actually a very, very tight stop on that one. And all it does, this would send you an alert to your smartphone again. I'm waiting on this to get to the ATR over here. If it cannot break this 3 minute, it's not going to get there, but we'll wait and see. Go look at the Dow as well. The Dow is actually doing what I anticipated. Do you see how this is at 17,460? ATR is at 17,470. You know, so this congestion dot is within 10 ticks of the ATR on the 12 minute. Yeah, if I'm coming into an ATR on a higher time frame, Humphrey, I always exit my trade. The ATR, the one thing everyone in this room should know, that ATR provides the first level of support or resistance. Right now you can see as this is making new highs, the volume is decreasing. The issue is that this does not complete until 10:24. That's 30 seconds away. They would really need to come in strong to break that. You see it on the 3 minute too. Yeah, the ATR does. It also overlaps with, like floor trader pivots. Do you see how the congestion dot is right up above a floor trader pivot? You get that a lot. Do you see how the price bar sometimes turns white? The reason that it turns white is to let us know that we're close enough to an ATR. You can also see it in the white ATR. I'm going to pull this one over. Now my bias on the Dow is to the downside. Do you see how they're not coming in to buy that? Can everyone still hear me?
Muted.
For a minute, I guess. Okay. So can everyone still hear me? All right, I'm not doing this on my live account. I'm doing it in a simulator because I don't do live accounts. And not in this room anyway. Now, I believe that the Dow is going to go down, and when you're setting your stop, because you know this may retrace back to this ATR still, I'm going to allocate for that. That's at 70. So I'm actually going to put my stop at 75. Now, and if it moves in our direction, I'll move the stop down very quickly. Now, I could have waited until the 12-minute finished. Seeing the volume that I'm seeing right now coming into this market, none of it is to the upside. If I wait until the 12-minute ends, the risk might be too high. Does everybody understand that one? Yeah, I'm going to have to pause for a minute because I'm monitoring a trade. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Jump on the train as it starts. Give me just a moment. Okay, can everybody see my screen again? Now, do you see why if you had waited until this went, your risk would be really, really high? That's why I didn't want to do that. I jumped on it early. Was I still using all of my time frames? Yes, I was. If you wanted to get real aggressive, you could actually have your stop at 45 right now. I'm going to pull it down some. I'm not going to pull it down that far. Um, I'm going to put it at 56. But I'm also going to watch the volume over here. I want to see the sellers increasing to flip this ATR. I think it will at least get to 416. And actually has the potential to go to 380. Yes, I used the 3-minute for entry. Well, you went back to a congestion dot, entry point, has diverging volume on the 3-minute, okay? You're at an ATR over on the 12-minute, but if you wait to read this volume on the 12-minute, you're going to have a lot of risk. I pulled the trigger on the 3-minute. Do you understand, Humphrey? Was I still using all of my time frame? Yes, but I want to lower my risk. Does everybody understand? The entry was 17,449 and I was actually late because my internet went out for like 60 seconds. You should have been short at the close of this bar. You're at a congestion dot with diverging volume. You went up to the congestion dot, buying volume went down. You're close to this ATR. Really had volume divergence prior to this bar even being formed. I wanted it closer to the ATR because I know within my risk I have to allocate for that stop, for that ATR, which I did, and then I pulled it down. Does everyone understand? Yeah, and you could get more aggressive than what I am. I know that this is playing out on a 180, okay? We've already retraced this wide bar. I'm not anticipating this magenta peak to come in yet. Why not? Because I've got strong down volume. I would think that the low 17,417 should actually be exceeded before we get that magenta peak. That's my expectations. It may surprise me, but I don't think so. the delta going below 0 here. This is a bar that's made both a high and a low, totally being dominated by sellers. Within the delta and confirmed by the price bar. Always have that confirmed by the price bar. We may get a little bounce right here at the ATR, okay? That's the reason I've got my stop setting up here at 455 instead of 445. It's to allocate for that little bounce. Ideally, this volume bar right here that shows blue right now, I'm hoping that sellers come in and take control of it. Now it does have to close just like it is right now, and that little hash mark needs to be red. That would be ideal because that tells me that they're stepping into the downside, which is in the direction of my trade. Always a good thing. For those that have used the ADX for a long time, you know when you have this type of volume, normally it will take this low out, which means it should go to 17,416. Do you see how they're coming in on that bar? It's exactly what I wanted. And guess what? We get to move our stop down now. The high of that bar is 42. I will now take it down to 45. Well, if I can catch it. Now you have a risk-free trade. They're selling the high. As that high was made, this is what is so phenomenal about the directional volume indicator. As they made that high, it showed you sellers stepped in because that little bitty delta there went below 0. That's what you want. That is ideal for your trade because you're short. Yep. Just load it up. Now I'm watching the volume here. Still got about 35 minutes on this one. But you need this volume to come in strong. If you really want to get tight because you think, oh, it might retrace that wide bar, maybe stop to 420. For those of you that read about the wolf weight on the Russell, It is doing its thing. I did both a weekly and a daily binary on that. Yeah, I'm watching the volume on the 45-minute because I want it to get stronger because I don't want that magenta peak to come in the middle of my trade. Now I can go ahead and take my stop down to 20. Okay. Because I don't want this to come back and retrace on me right now. You really want to get aggressive, you can go down to a 1 minute. I think it's going to go down to 376, and if you trail it too close, you'll miss it. Well, I think based on the 180 that it's going to come down to this ATR, which is at 376, Michelle. You're getting a slight volume divergence here. If you're using the 3 minute to trail and you have that stop at 420 like we do, we might get stopped out. Just have to wait and see. The initial setup, yeah, if you were awake like I was at 6 o'clock this morning, this was your initial setup. In the room, we had to enter really based off of the 12 and the 3. I did the 180 setup, Michelle, off of the binaries. And I did it early because it was still hitting the congestion dot when I entered. I think it was around 4:30 this morning. And this setup, if I go over and look at the ES, you're going to see exactly the same setup. Okay, you're at the congestion dot over here, bam. If you go over to the NASDAQ, there's your congestion dot entry right there. Slightly different on the 3 minute NASDAQ. I don't trade the 3 minute, well, I don't trade the NASDAQ as much because it tends to beat to its own little drum. But you did definitely have it on the YM and on the ES. Any questions so far? The trades that are going to make you the most money are coming off of the 45 and the 180. And this is what we're targeting down here at 375, which if it gets there, I'll just close the position. No, not from the 1 minute, from the 180, Humphrey. Yeah, if it appears that bar does not close until 11:15, we got 30 more minutes. We got 30 minutes and we have 20 points to our profit target. We may actually get there before it develops. We can bring the stop down another 5 points. Okay. $11:15 a.m. I did trade it as a binary. I just exited the position. I did a daily, Dan. It was, and again, it was about 4:30 this morning. The risk was 25, and I just closed it with, I think, $35 a contract. I figured it would be a slow day, so I gave it all day to work out. Yeah, Mondays typically are slow days, but I think somebody came out from the Federal Reserve and opened their mouth and caused the market to go down. They said something to the effect that they're probably going to raise interest rates in April, but I mean, I thought it was going to go down because you've got the wolf wave that's developing on the Russell, and I wrote about that, I think, yesterday. Just another pattern to look at. How do you tell if price will break the ATR in a lower time frame and ATR is not just a target? Look at the volume. If volume is increasing, it's going to break the ATR. And that's exactly what you saw here, Michelle. As it approached this ATR, do you see how the sellers were increasing? Now, could it bounce? Yes, but then it's going to come down. I didn't post that because it was 4:30 in the morning, Keith. Now, the wolf wave I actually posted on the blog yesterday. I think it'll be interesting. You didn't need a magenta peak on the 180. It's at a congestion dot. And actually, you did have a magenta peak on the 45 minute. There it is. Came in at 4:30. Do you understand why I entered at 4:30, Humphrey? That's actually the scalp that I've been doing videos on. You have 2 time frames telling you this market is going to go down. I just took advantage of it. No, Bonnie, it doesn't matter at all. Multi-charts uses Scanner, which is very similar to the radar screen in TradeStation. NinjaTrader has a market analyzer. The difference is we have to do different market analyzers to monitor the time frames because we cannot monitor them all in one market analyzer. And you'll have slight variations between the ATRs. You know, typically what you will see, if I have an ATR here, you may have a congestion dot in NinjaTrader. Does that answer your question, Bonnie? We may get a magenta peak on the 3-minute. That's going to trigger that stop, just to let you know. Um, is there anything else that's coming up on Forex? I am expecting the USD JPY to go down. I'm already in that trade though. And again, you have to go through each one of these. If it says price at a CD, price at a ATR, you know, you just go in and see if there's a valid setup there. If I had all 3 available, which one would I choose? Probably TradeStation because I'm more familiar with TradeStation. That's the one that I started with. And the radar screen functionality I am in love with. This is probably going to give you a magenta peak. Okay? We're already sitting at 415. I mean, if you wanted an extra 8 points, you would exit the trade now. I got to stop in. I'm all right. The reason I moved that is because I'm still paying attention to this volume bar. Do I provide the what? Confusers? What is that? No, but we predominantly use mine anyway, Larry. Uh, to be honest with you, I've got extra computers if I needed to. I've done it before. I've got like 3 to 4 laptops. So, uh, but you know, a lot of the time you're actually, you know, at my computer because I make you tell me what you see. You know, it's really cool. It's a lot of hands-on and it's small group. You know, I try to target 5 to 10 people, I think. No more than 10. I don't like having more than 10 people because I don't think you can learn as well. Which one am I monitoring right now? It would be the 45. And one of the things I teach you to do is draw vertical lines. Okay, is volume going up or down? Right now, it's just about at the same point as the previous one. Here you had 459. On the delta here, you've got 985. Total volume on this is about 8,000. On this one, about 6,500. I don't really pay attention to the numbers, but if you want to look at the numbers, they're there. If this retraces to this ATR, because you're going to get a magenta peak, you're going to get stopped out. Buyers coming in on the 12 minute? No. That's an inside bar. Don't let that mislead you, Michelle. It's an inside bar. It doesn't make a difference to me. This bar said sellers were still in control. Did you have slight divergence there? Yeah. There's your magenta peak. This is where you're going to get stopped out because your stop is below this ATR. The probabilities are that you'll be stopped out. I'll put it that way. Buyers controlling you're out of the Dow. Buyers controlling an inside bar does not mean a lot to me. It's an inside bar. That's all you can say. It's an inside bar. Any questions on that trade? And I mean, really, the combination between the radar screen and the indicators and all of the alerts that we have built into this, it's hard to miss a trade. and I trade a lot of markets. I don't actively trade the Russell intraday, but it's like me looking for the wolf wave yesterday. There are times when I do pay attention to a higher time frame setup, and that was just one of the examples. Anybody that read the article would have made money if they'd have just went in the direction of the wolf wave. And that one, by the way, did have volume divergence on it, which is why I picked up on it. The wolf wave itself is a supply and demand pattern, which is why it makes sense to me, I guess. All right, any questions? I am on Windows 10 now. It does give me trouble sometimes with the video cards, but overall I kind of like it. Well, thank you, Dave. I have the quad core. Anytime you want to call is fine, Rick. The rest of my positions are basically binaries, so on the Russell binary that I did, I was, how much risk? I had right at $25 of risk on that trade, and I've already doubled that risk. I've got a profit of $52.75 per contract, 53 now. And I'm going to exit that because I don't want it to make a magenta peak on me. And I'm still out on the weekly on the Russell too. Yeah, once in a while I still do a free room just so everybody can come in and see the indicators. I thought today was going to be a slow day, actually. So I'm going to do more of them, just like spur of the moment like I did this morning. Any other questions, guys? I'm glad all of you joined me this morning. I enjoyed it. Oh, thanks, Marty. I miss you too. How have you been doing? I got your cards, but I lost your email address. Actually, my computer crashed. So I lost a lot of email addresses, so it's not unusual for me. I do have them somewhere on one of my backups. So, Larry, if you opt to do the seminar, email me because you would get the discounted price. Sounds great. All right. Any other questions this morning, guys? If not, I hope y'all have a wonderful week trading, and I'll see you later.